Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm very excited to bring you a review for the new Marvel Legends X-Men animated series collection, Jubilee. Jubilee was always kind of the kid appeal character in the X-Men cartoon, and she had kind of this father-daughter relationship with Logan, which, interestingly, in the live-action movies, that dynamic kind of got stolen by Rogue, who was made to be, much younger, about Jubilee's age. So, yeah, I'm not sure why they did that, why they cut her out, because I always liked Jubilee. That being said, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at Jubilee's packaging, then we'll open it up, we'll check out Jubilee herself, we'll see all of her posability, check out her accessories. Naturally, I'll be doing some group shots and comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Jubilee comes in your same recreation VHS tape packaging that Wolverine did. This time, however, it's just modified to, suit her stylings a little more. So just like last time, you get the X-Men logo right here, and then your little X symbol, but now we have her name over it instead of Wolverine's. We get some really nice artwork of Jubilee kind of jumping up and using her explosion powers on what I presume is one of the little tendrils from a Sentinel. That's what it looks like. We see the little Marvel Comics logo, as if this were a comic book, and we get Jubilee's face there instead of Logan's. And then, your usual like brandings and warnings and stuff. You just get the logos again on the top. On the side, you get which, looks like the side of a VHS tape. You get a small little panel with the side of her face, the name of what would be like the movie right here, and then your, Marvel Legends logo made to look like the VHS logo. And then on the back, we get a really nice render of the Jubilee toy, and then we get a little bit of flavor text for her. So Jubilation Lee, which is her full name, is the newest member of the X-Men, able to project plasma fireworks from her hands with explosive results. Now, one thing I want to point out looking at this render, something that they seem to have captured on the toy that they never really captured in the animated series, is the Asian features for Jubilee, because Jubilee is Asian American. Her parents were from Hong Kong. She was born in, I think, California. And that's something that I did not know for the longest time, because my introduction to the character was the animated series. That's what I grew up with. And they really never drew her to look like she was of Asian descent. She honestly just looked to be Caucasian to me. Maybe it was just me. Maybe other people picked up on it. But I just never really got the impression that she was supposed to be East Asian. But yeah, the toy, if the finished product looks anything like this render, seems to just capture that a little bit better. And I think that's something that kind of works, because you do want to make sure when you're drawing a character that you depict them accurately to how they should actually look. Okay, now we have our toy out of the box, and it turns out that this Jubilee is mostly just a recolor of the one that came with the Caliban Build-A-Figure wave. The only difference I can see in sculpting on what we have right here is the boots. The boots have been changed to a more skin-tight variation that are seen on, Jubilee in the animated series. So this head is the one that came with the Caliban Jubilee, and as such has some goggles that you can put on it. And it comes with like your standard clear ones, just like the one that came with the Caliban wave did. But then we also get a cel-shaded option too, since this is supposed to be the animated series version. We also get two energy effects right here, which again are the same ones from the Caliban version. And then of course we get this new head that you can see. And this head is different in that the shades or goggles, whatever to call them, are just permanently molded into the sculpt right there. So she just wears them up on her forehead. But that's not the only difference. When you look at these two head sculpts, they are very, very markedly different in appearance. This one is the one we saw in the back of the packaging, the one that I said really helped accentuate her Asian features. This one right here, a bit more ethnically ambiguous, and honestly I don't like it as much. I don't really like the way it looks as much as this one. This one looks a lot closer to, my mental image of how Jubilee is supposed to look based on, the cartoon and everything. So, yeah, a little weird that they're so markedly different from one another. And I think that just comes from them recycling an existing head and then creating a new one that's, actually based on the cartoon. So when it comes to posability, This figure has a fair amount. It's got the ball joint and hinge combo, so she can look up and down and then turn all around. Universal shoulders. She has single bend elbows that get a really nice bend to them, and then an elbow swivel. She has universal wrists. However, she's got the whole thing where one hand will bend in and out, and then the other one bends up and down. It seems to be an increasingly common thing. She also has an ball joint in her upper torso area, allowing her to, bend around and stuff. But then in addition to that, she also gets a waist swivel, so that's cool. A lot of the time it's one or the other. She has universal hips, which can splay out fairly far, go back and forth. She has a thigh swivel right up here at the cut of her shorts. She has a double knee bend, as you can see right there. She has a boot swivel, which makes sense since this is the part that got swapped out, so it should be a separate piece, right? And then she has ankle rock and rotation. So pretty much everything you'd expect, and maybe even a little more, because a lot of the time with these smaller female characters, they get that upper torso articulation, but not the waist swivel. So the fact that she has both puts her a little bit ahead of the game, in my opinion. Now let's go ahead and check out her glasses. So first we'll try on the standard clear ones, and you can see her hair on the side is molded, but there's a slight indent, and that is to allow these glasses to just slide on over her ears. Just carefully, it is clear plastic, so I'll worry about that a little bit. So that does look pretty good. I do like the look of it. What I think bugs me about this head sculpt? It makes Jubilee look older. And it could very well be that the version of Jubilee that they were depicting in the Caliban wave was supposed to be a more adult version, whereas the Jubilee in the cartoon is much younger. So maybe that's where the mental disconnect is for me. She looks like she's 30 or 40 something years old with this sculpt. Alright, so let's go ahead and put the cel-shaded ones on. Those also look really good, and they definitely match the aesthetic more, because there is some cel shading here. It's not super pronounced, but it's mostly on her jacket. You can see kind of the dark yellow striping around the arms. And I guess, yeah, this is cel shading too. So you see a little bit here on her leg, and then cel shading on both the boots. So it is there, but again, it's mild enough to where she can easily just be part of a standard display of X-Men characters. She's not going to look way too out of place. Alright, so we got to look at the two options for this head. Let's go ahead and remove it. Put the other one on. Personally, I think I like this one more. Just looks way more like the cartoon Jubilee to me. So I really dig this head sculpt. I think the hair is better. I think the facial features are better. The downside is that you don't have the option of putting the glasses on her, over her eyes, but you get them right up here where they are, 90% of the time anyway. So I think this looks really good. I also noticed another difference between these two. On this head, she has no earrings, whereas on the older one, she doesn't want to stand up right now. She's not playing ball. There we go. On the older one, she has kind of her standard, round circular earrings that she tends to swap out every now and again for, slight variations in the design. And actually, seeing that, I went and kind of looked back through images of Jubilee from the show. She does wear earrings in the show. But what it appears is that in the beginning of the series, when she first gets recruited, she doesn't have them. And then I think she puts them in later to show her affiliation with the X-Men. Because Jubilee never really dons an official costume. She pretty much just wears this all the time. So it is a minor difference, but it is one that kind of stuck out to me. So there's kind of a little bit of everything. You can either go, goggles up with no earrings, or goggles down, or goggleless with earrings. So those are your options, I suppose. All right, now we get her energy effects, and these things are cool. So let's see. You basically just slide them over her hands. I guess you can pop the hands off first if you want to, if you're having a hard time getting them over the fingers and stuff. But they're soft enough to where you should be able to just kind of get it up over there. So I got one on there. Looks pretty good. And let's do like this. Helps if you just kind of twist it on. Work our fingers through as you go. No, I'm just kind of rotating the wrist. It's not working, man. Okay. How about something like that? There we go. That looks really good. So now it looks like Jubilee is, using her powers and casting her fireworks at you. I like this. I think this, to me, is my preferred setup for this figure. It looks like she just popped like right out of the cartoon, and it's just a very dynamic pose. Really, really good looking. And here's our group shot with Wolverine, the first figure released in this collection. And you can see the aesthetics for these two match up very, very well. The yellows are very similar, and then even the color choices for the shading on those yellows are very similar. And, the skin tones, everything, they have that flat color like you would expect from a 90s cartoon. And yeah, I mean, they make for a very good pair, but luckily, we don't have to settle for just these two because we know quite a few more X-Men are coming down the pike. We're getting a Jean Grey, we're getting Storm. There's Mr. Sinister, but he's a bad guy, so I don't think he's going to be in too many group shots with them. And I don't know, are there any more? That might be all that we know of right now. Could be wrong there. But I'd be surprised if more don't get revealed in the future. So we could end up with the entire team at some point, all done in this cel-shaded 90s cartoon glory, which I'd be all for because I absolutely loved the X-Men cartoon. I also want to point out that though Jubilee is a young teenager and not very big, Logan is still shorter than her. He is so very short. I actually had somebody fill me in the comment section on his review. I was saying he was like 5'6", 5'7". He is 5'3". I'm not to offend anybody out there that might be particularly short, but boy, that is way smaller than I thought he was. In hindsight, it's a wonder that 6-foot-something Hugh Jackman got cast to play him. And this completes our look at the new X-Men animated series Jubilee. I absolutely love this figure. I think it does a phenomenal job of capturing Jubilee's likeness from the animated cartoon, especially when you're using this particular head right here, because I feel the face, it just looks the part better. It's, younger looking. The older head, the Bath head is not bad by any means. It just doesn't really fit for this depiction of the character. Of course, the plus side to it is that you do have removable glasses that you can either have, her wearing down or not wearing at all. So there are some trade-offs here and there. It would have been kind of cool if this Jubilee came with some extra hands, but I guess the extra glasses kind of took up that budget. And I'm not too worried about it because I'm always going to have her pose with her little fireworks effects attached anyway, so she's got to be doing, the little hand thing. So yeah, I'm satisfied. I'm very happy with this. I think it's the best looking Jubilee toy that we received in Legends, especially with the new head. And it just really has me stoked for the rest of the collection, because if all the characters are as cool as this and are screen accurate as this, I think it's going to be an excellent little mini-series. Of course, that is just my opinion, so now I want to know what you all think of this toy. Do you like this Jubilee figure? Does it really scratch that 90s itch for you? Do you prefer it over the Caliban Wave version? Or is there something about this you don't like? Either you don't like Jubilee, you're not interested in the whole cel-shaded animated thing, or maybe you think the older version is better. Any and all feedback is always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the brand new Marvel Legends X-Men Animated Series Collection, Jubilee. And with all that said, I will see you next time.